lost it. Actually lost it. She grabbed the cake knife, and for a second I thought this was how I'd die. Death by baby shower. "This is my day!" she screamed, mascara running. "Mine! I've been trying for 3 years!" Ryan grabbed Melissa's wrist and twisted the knife out of her hand while she stood there frozen, her whole body shaking like she was having a seizure. The knife clattered onto the floor and kicked under the dessert table as Melissa's legs gave out completely. She dropped to her knees and started wailing so loud that the neighbors probably heard it 3 houses down. Her mascara ran down her face in thick black streams while she pounded her fists on the floor screaming that I ruined everything, that I always ruin everything, that this was supposed to be her special day. Mom rushed over and wrapped her arms around Melissa, rocking her back and forth while completely ignoring me standing there in shock with my hand on my belly. At least 20 phones were pointed at us, everyone recording the whole meltdown like it was some kind of reality show. Ryan managed to get Melissa into a chair where she sat hyperventilating, her chest heaving up and down so fast I thought she might pass out. He whispered something in her ear over and over, probably trying to calm her down, while the rest of the guests just stood around awkwardly not knowing where to look or what to do. Daniel grabbed my arm and pulled me toward the door, his face completely white. He asked if I was okay and said we needed to leave right now before things got worse. That's when Mom stormed over and slapped me hard across the face, the sound echoing through the whole room like a gunshot. She screamed that I was a selfish bitch who couldn't let Melissa have one single day without making it about me. The room went dead silent except for Melissa's crying, and I heard several people gasp at what just happened. My cheek burned like fire and I touched it without thinking, feeling the heat spreading across my face. Daniel stepped right between Mom and me, telling her to back the hell off or he'd call the cops himself. Grace appeared next to me and announced loud enough for everyone to hear that she was calling 911 if anyone else laid a hand on me. Nathan finally pushed through the crowd looking like he'd seen a ghost, staring at what his family had turned into. That's when Melissa suddenly bent over and threw up all over the floor, this gross yellow liquid splashing onto her expensive shoes. Ryan jumped up saying they needed to go to the hospital right now because she was having contractions from all the stress. Mom immediately pointed at me and yelled that if Melissa lost her baby, it would be my fault, her voice carrying across the entire backyard. Ryan helped Melissa stand up and started walking her toward their car, but she turned around and screamed that if she lost her baby, she'd make sure I lost mine too. At least 10 people had their phones out recording her threat, and Daniel grabbed my hand saying we were filing a police report immediately. We sat in Daniel's car in the parking lot while he called 911 to report the assault and the threat against our babies. I texted Grace asking her to save any videos from the party while my cheek throbbed and I could feel the twins moving around like crazy from all my stress. 2 cops showed up about 20 minutes later and took our statements. Watching the footage Grace and 3 other guests had saved on their phones. They took pictures of my red cheek and told us we should file for a restraining order first thing Monday morning. 3 hours later we were home and Daniel was making me chamomile tea while I sat on the couch trying to process everything that had happened. He sat down next to me and admitted he was scared of what Melissa might do next, suggesting we should stay with his parents for a few days just to be safe. I told him no way was I letting her drive me out of my own home after everything she'd done over the years. My phone started blowing up with notifications as videos from the party went viral on TikTok and Instagram with hashtags like baby shower meltdown and psycho sister. Comments poured in calling Melissa crazy and Mom abusive, while other people said I was wrong for announcing my pregnancy at her party, even if she had it coming. The doorbell started going off at 7 the next morning like someone was holding it down. Daniel jumped out of bed and looked through the peephole while I stayed under the covers. Carol stood there with her face all red and puffy from crying. She kept pressing the doorbell over and over and started pounding on the door with her fist. Daniel told me to stay back and open the door just a crack with the chain still on. Carol immediately stuck her fingers through the gap and tried to push